effect that there's no saving grace, but I don't think TFT is that simple. So
yeah, usually not. Like sometimes you can make a big decision, but you can always just say like, okay, we'll go from the decision. So all right. Okay, and it is
I think
crab.
it's Crab Rave.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
crab
Crab
rave.
Rave.
Okay, so just means a little bit that we want to play something that's like a high enough, ideally high enough cap that it can beat the crab later. But in general, it just means the lobby's gonna be higher cap. People can have a lot more gold. So like tends to be the like one cost reroll type stuff will like fall off later. Like comps that cap out very low or like really cheap comps in general. We'll cap out lower. Okay, so like first decision of the game, do you want to make 10 here because you got a 6 gold drop here? You're holding on to Maddie and the step here. So I mean, the question is, you want to hold TF to potentially play 4 Enforcer. I'm actually fine making gold here, I would say. I guess the other downside is that you lose the Casio here, but it's just from the games that I've played. I played 4 Enforcer a few times, and it's just not felt amazing to me as an opener. It just feels like one of those traits that like scales better with game time, where like like late game it feels a lot better than it does early. And so like yeah, I'm not that excited to hold on to TF and like Cassiopeia as well. Like Black Rose opener after Black Rose nerfs, it's like fine, but it's also like you're gonna have to find specifically Vlad for Black Rose to be an opener that you can hold here. And even if you do, I still don't think it's like an amazing opener. So I'm actually open to just making 10 in this spot because like we already have the Maddie steb. Like very reasonably, this can be our opener. And like we might not even, because 4 Enforcer is not that good, I'm actually down to make 10 in this spot. But I think,
I didn't even think about that. Okay.
Yeah, you decide to hold stuff. We end up getting Maddie too, which is really nice. I would also just, as usual, I yap about this all the time, but hold Desire, hold the Irelia. Like there's a world where we end up playing around these guys. We have a Morgana, right? There's a chance that our next shop has like Vex in it and like Irelia too, and we end up playing like Visionaries plus Sentinels type stuff. So I would just hold it just to keep the option open. End up hitting Maddie 2 here, which I like. Yep, I'm down to field the Maddie 2. If you do this, yep, I would field this guy. I would even just like not buy the Maddie 2 until combat starts. It's a tiny thing, but I like just waiting just because it gives you a chance if there's ever a world where you want to like sell this guy and make gold, you get that option. It's much more niche in this spot because like we do have a pair already, but in general, I just usually wait to make the 2-star until after combat starts, just to give me the max amount of decisions possible because now like we basically have to field this guy and we don't really get anything for it. And like maybe there's a crazy world where we sell him, probably not, but it's just like a good habit to have. Okay, and so these are items in this spot. We are pretty much locked into this being our opener here. So like you kind of have to like make a call as far as what we want to do with the rest of our units and stuff like that. I'm down to make gold here. Like, yeah, like these items are pretty good for something like a Black Rose opener and maybe like Dominators or something. But like we have the Maddie too. I'm happy to play around Maddie. I'd probably sell this and hold Powder just in case we get like a Trundle and then like Powder we can get scrap in. But I definitely do want to make gold here just because it's it's 10 gold here, and I feel like our odds of playing Casio are pretty low here. Like, yeah, you get to hold all this.
I think I think that was mechanical error. I was too slow.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
The decision loaded.
Yeah. All right. Sure. Support cash, Rocket Collection, Mace's Will. Mace's Will is generically like probably the best out of these. You don't really have a good spot to play Rocket Collection, I guess. I mean, you have Gwinsu's, but like, we have no Triss, no Urgot, so I'm not that hype to take this. And Support Cash, first augment, tends to not be that good. I'm down to take Mace's Will, and we could just make a Gwinsu here, and then if you really want to, you could go Gwinsu Hodge, or you could just go Gwinsu and then hold on to it, and then like play. Generally, AD this game could end up on like Corki, I guess would be my ideal. Just play towards like Emissary here. Cooking Pot here. I feel like you only want to take this if you have like a really, really, really good spot for it. Cooking Pot here, we have Tier, Rod, Bow, Open. I don't think any of those are good enough that you're really hyped to take it. I've seen people go like Quick Striker. I mean, like I have seen people go Quick Striker, Cooking Pot, and if you had an Akali, you could maybe consider it actually. Just scale up the Akali. And you do actually have like make Quick Striker emblem, and then you have like half JG, half Hodge, which are really good Akali items. You would just need a lot of gloves. But it's a little, because we don't have those units yet, I feel like it's a little too cute to try to go for it here, so I probably wouldn't. You're looking at maybe Rocket Collection here, because like this is a... What's walk me through your thought process if you remember here.
So what I remember is that because I had a Gwinsu Slam and I had a Maddie too, I figured, obviously the Gwinsus would end up having to go on the Tristana, but I figured I could kind of lean into it because it gives you the Tristana.
Hmm.
I know because it, obviously it didn't farm the first three minion rounds, but in the grand, like the overall, right? That's
Right. Yeah,
like
it's
three
not.
rockets or whatever the case may be. So I was like, okay, well, this gives me that starting. I should be able to get that collector relatively soon with these items. I think I can make something work. And then I was thinking of doing that line, which you'll see through the game, of the Urgot reroll line, is what I ended up trying to play.
Yeah.
Just that was kind of the thought process of leaning into it, is that I have these items. I can potentially look towards leaning towards some sort of Tristana reroll game, which honestly I should have probably done something like Tristana Sentinels or anything instead of doing the Urgot version. I forget why. I think maybe I dropped the items for Urgot and I figured to lean into it. But
Hmm.
yeah, that was the thought process. Just because I have a Gwynsus, this would give me a collector. All I'd have to look for is the IE. And I didn't really have a strong start, so I was gonna go for a lose streak.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't completely mind it. My thought is just that, like, I'm only really excited to take this if I've already got a Trist, like she's farmed up on minions, or I already have an Urgot or something, because then I'm getting to like Trist pair or Urgot pair. This being our first Trist and our first Urgot is a little, I don't know, like a little worrying, I guess. Like there's a chance that it'll take a while for us to hit like Trist 2, which is like really, really nice to get just because it gives her much better odds of getting kills with her ults and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's also just like, yeah, I mean, you do have the Gwynsu, then you're left with tier open, which is like not amazing. I guess my thought is just like, I don't feel like our Trist spot, we have no Trist, no Urgots, no like anything that really synergizes with that board. Like normally, yeah, you like Sentinel setup. Or like if you're playing the Urgot version, I don't know. I guess if you had got dropped like a Nunu or something, you could think more about it. But yeah, like in my head, there's nothing that's really like makes me excited to play Rocket Collection here, aside from the fact that yeah, you get like Winsus, which is yeah, I mean it's fine, but not
No, and that's
amazing.
fair. I mean, Mace's Will, you're absolutely right. It's just
Yeah,
such a
like
good generic.
yeah, Mace's Will is just generically strong. Like if you're gonna lock yourself in with the first augment like this, I think you should have like a like if you're gonna do that, I would want a better spot for it. And like I don't feel like your spot for Rock Collection is so good that I want to lock myself into it. You should also probably scout here just to
It should almost feel like a win more kind of thing.
yeah.
Is
Like
how I
you
should look at it.
yeah, like if you already have Trist and stuff like that, then you're like, okay, like I'm interested in doing this, but okay, we should level here, play the Trist. Yeah, I mean, you want to get
The
the Urgot in,
APM
but
error, yeah,
too
yeah,
slow. Yeah,
APM
all
error.
good. It happens. But we get the Gwynsu down on the Trist, and we'll get it in the next round. We get to make 10 gold
Oh,
here.
and the 1 2 3 4 QWER, it's fantastic. It's really
Yeah,
helped a lot. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
thank you
yeah.
for that.
It's so nice. Okay, we win this
It,
fight, which is
yeah,
nice.
it
Yeah.
kind of shot me in the foot because I ended up losing every single round after this. Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean,
it
all
is
good. I
what it
mean,
is.
yeah, the board's not like too bad at this point. We can make 20 gold here. Yeah, I mean, you lose every round with this board. It's a little surprising, but to be fair, like your augment is a Tristan and Urgot right here. So anyone
Yeah,
who has an augment that is doing like anything on their board, like yeah, I mean, like this guy for Sentinel with the tower defense thingy, like yeah, I mean, I can certainly see why we would lose a fight like this. I definitely want to make gold here. I want to sell TF plus. Yep, okay, good. Um, and theoretically, if you want to play Urgot, you could hold Zyra. I don't mind holding Steb here for now, just because like he is like hitting Steb 2 will actually give us frontline, and we're really lacking it right now. So I don't mind this hold, but it is like if we want to play that Urgot version, we can hold Zyra, but it'll just be something we should hold down the line. But okay, we're chilling at this point. Yeah, I guess the other kind of scary thing about Rocket Collection here is like you really need to index ideally into being strong for Rocket Collection. Like ideally you want to be winning fights or at least like making fights last long, so you're firing off all these rockets. I would hold
interesting.
this.
Okay.
And so like, you know, here your board's like a little bit weak, so it's not ideal. You could I'd probably just pre-level here, buy set, pre-level. Gives you higher odds of finding like the Trists and the Urgots next round. And like
Oh, I didn't
your
even
next
think of
level can
that.
just be a bruiser. You could even hold Vi as well in case you hit that. But yeah, I mean, it's just like there's no downside, right? It's not like we're making 30 gold this round.
Right.
So you just get a little bit of extra XP. And once again, like I guess like if you wanted to play for 5 loss here, like if you had lost the first one, then I like not pre-leveling a little bit more. But because you already won one fight, like you say you 4 loss, you're like, even if you 4 loss, I mean, it's still at the end of the day, it's just a 4 loss, not even like a 5 loss. All right, so sword or glove here. I think either one's fine, and you kind of like tie break with the fact that sword's on a higher cost unit. You're just really trying to get to the IE, which I think is reasonable. Also, sword, I guess, is just, I mean, it's better on Urgot, like as a kind of like generic item. You can make a lot of stuff out of it. The downside is, I guess, glove is Hodge for now. But I mean, your first sword plus glove is always going to be IE. So I don't completely mind this. Maybe you could consider taking glove here just because you can use multiple gloves. I mean, you can use multiple swords as well. I think this is fine. Okay. Okay. And we lose this fight. We make 40 gold. But overall, pretty chill. we're kind of leaning into the loss streak in this spot, which I think is fine because it allows us to make econ here. So I think that's pretty reasonable. We do have to like pass up stuff like GP, who would like eventually end up fitting on the board, random Zyra too, which like you could make if you want to. You lose a gold
I
for it.
thought I ended up not doing it for that reason of losing the gold, but I think I ended up having to dig for Zyra later in the game, so I kind of shot myself in the foot.
Yeah,
I basically paid that interest later.
yeah, I think at this point, like when you are, especially if you're thinking of playing the Urgot version, which you can kind of think about here, you can definitely keep the option open. I'm much more happy to like not make 50 than I am to not make 10. I don't know if I've talked to you about this, but like econ and TFT snowballs, like getting 10 gold helps you make 20 gold, which is really important to get to your first 50. But there's no snowballing past 50. You know, you can't make 60, 70 gold of
Right.
interest unless, you know, you have like hedge fund or something. And so like I'm much more down to not make 50 gold than to, like I said, not make 10. Because like, okay, this at the end of the day is just 1 gold. Like you're just losing 1 gold for holding onto the Zyra and Step Pair, who could end up being our frontline. Whereas, you know, like if you don't make your 10, that can sometimes snowball into like not making your 10 might mean that you're not making 20, might mean that you're not making 30. And so like you might end up losing like 3 or 4 gold by not making 1 gold of interest. But here, 1 gold is 1 gold. So I'm happy to make the Zyra too.
Okay.
And like she's always, if we want to consider the Urgot board, which I think you should consider as a possibility here, then I think you want to hold her. And yeah, we end up getting like Urgot pair here. So like it's like definitely something we could think about. And like the probably hold the Trundle here as well. But yeah, like I mean, Urgot pair, Trist pair here. I mean, you're basically have to play the comp because we're Rocket Collectors, which I mean I think is fine. It's a pretty decent spot, all things considered. We just would like some more stacks at this point. All right, so items a tad bit awkward at this spot. Like, yeah, you really do want to go IE, especially when you're collector, just to make usage of the stats. You have BT that you could make. You also have like Gunblade that you could make, and then you would just have to kind of like give up on getting collector or getting IE, which like, I mean, the problem is you kind of have to make something here. Like you have to make some stuff here. You could also even make Deathblade. The problem then is just the rest of your items are really awkward. So I feel like it probably has to be BT for Urgot, just because like it's one of Urgot's better items. And like this is also where you can kind of, I guess like in your head, you're like locking into playing the Urgot version. I mean, I do think generally like a Rocket Collector like should be better with the Urgot version because you have another unit to put it on. I guess like in the Sentinels version, you can put it onto Ezreal. I guess it's fine either way. But with these items, like you don't have amazing items to play Sentinels here. So, and you have 2 Urgots, you have a BT. I think I'm fine playing Urgot here. But I think I would make BT, and I would probably end up just making Gunblade here. It feels bad not getting to IE this game, but like it just allows you to make a slam here. And if you're not making Gunblade, you'd probably be making, you can make like Crown Guard, I guess, throw that onto like Nunu later. But then you still have like tier open. It's kind of rough. I would definitely make BT here. I could maybe see the argument for Crown Guard over like Gunblade or something. But yeah, I think like this, like what you're doing here is you're basically saying, well, I want this chain to be Titans, I want this to be IE, and then these items, I don't know, we'll just like ignore them. I don't know, it's gonna make the game kind of tough if we just sit here on no item slammed, especially once again, because like the longer fights last, like the more rockets we are firing, the more like Tristana stacks we're getting. Like we don't really want to just like full open essentially here. Like we'd really like to win as many fights as possible just because it's going to give us more rockets. It's going to give us more Trist stacks. Like this is in some ways like a win streak augment, and like Trist in general is kind of like a win streak reroll comp if you can play for it.
Sure.
But yeah, okay. So we're level 6 here, 5 loss. We have to roll next round, I would say, for like even if you don't find Trist 2 or Urgot 2 on the roll down, I would keep rolling. Lucky Gloves invested, 1 buff, 2 buff. I mean, Lucky Gloves is not ideal here. It does, like, I guess it gives you a glove. You could then make IE and then make TG, but then you're just 1 TG Lucky Gloves. Doesn't seem amazing. 1 buff, 2 buff. I mean, there's no one really who wants to hold blue buff in this comp, red buff. And then invested, I mean, it is the econ that is going to allow you to hit like pretty ahead of schedule, so it's probably the best option here. It's not amazing here because it also like incentivizes you to econ up past 80. I wouldn't roll it first though. I don't know. I'm not really interested in this 1 buff 2 buff here. Like I'm pretty sure you should always roll this one first. I feel like this is the worst one in your spot just because like we can't really make usage of blue buff very well. Red buff is fine, but it's still not even amazing. And Blazing Soul, like Triss doesn't have amazing, like these units don't have amazing AP scaling, so I don't think you're really that interested in that. Bronze for life. I mean, you do get a lot of traits in this comp. It's probably just bronze for life then. And the damage amp is quite good with just everything else. Radiant Refactor is fun, but I think it's bronze for life here for sure. Okay, nice. And you get the Nunu here. But yeah, I would roll like pretty deep here. You get Ezreal as well, who I don't know when we're going to play him. You get Elise, so that's fantastic. Another Nunu. Oh, we really did not hit very much on this roll down. At least we hit the Urgot 2 here. It's tough. You probably have to roll to 30 gold. Like you probably have to just say like I don't really care about this like Rennie in this spot here. And just like roll a bit more. And if you hit anything, you can sell her. It's just like every fight that we lose this stage is like feels really, really, really bad because once again, we're Rocket Collector. We're also like pretty low at 66 HP. Like if we lose a few more fights, our game is almost like maybe not guaranteed to be a bot 4, but like definitely like kind of like on the way to becoming like seriously like a bot 4. So yeah, I think you actually really want to roll pretty deep here, and like finding Triss too is really big. And the other thing is like I was talking about, like not sending these items like Crown Guard or Gunblade here also makes your board weaker, kind of like artificially. It's also just like we just took this augment that really wants us to play like a lot of traits, and like our board right now is 3 traits in. It feels a bit bad. I guess this is what you're talking about getting punished for not holding onto the Zyra though. Yeah. Maybe skip GP here, which we should definitely like. You basically have to look for like something that gets your board together, but like GP is like so many traits.
That would have been Form Swapper too.
Yeah, it's Form Swapper, Pit Fighter. If you end up getting scrap in with other stuff, we don't really have it right now, but yeah, like definitely play GP for now. So you should just you should team planner out the board.
Build. Yeah, I should have.
Yeah, because just like this board plus GP over this, like you'd actually be in a pretty good spot, trait wise and everything wise. So yeah, I just think like if it's not a comp that like you've played a million times before, like I team planner all the time because I just like I don't have like a million reps. Oh yeah, and now we team planner, which like I think and now so tragic. I mean, I think you were just like kind of low on time the last few rounds, but I think like it is like you can roll faster if you do team planner because then like you have the ability to just send it essentially. Okay, right. So you're gonna take bow here. I mean, I think if we're gonna agree,
I took it for the Titans.
Yeah,
I was already like you've been mentioning. I was very one track minded, just which is definitely TFT needs to not be played that way.
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna make Titans here,
Gunblade didn't even like cross my mind.
Yeah, and it's
I
solid.
Know that for a fact.
It's even better in the whatchamacallit version, the Sentinel version, just because you're like healing up like a really tanky front line. But in this version, It's fine as well. Like you'll heal up an Urgot. It's not bad. So yeah, like I think if you're taking this Titans here, then I would just say like I would probably end up just making Gunblade here. I mean, the only way you can get away with not making it is if these next 2 fights are like really weak. Also, how many sacks are we at? I think you just checked. Which button is it? This one? Yeah. Okay, 59. So we're almost there to our first one, which like, I think in an ideal world, if we had like a stronger opener with this comp, like I think in your ideal world, you should be hitting it like pretty soon, like probably by now or maybe next round, but like you're going to get it like early stage 4. But yeah, it does just like feel a little bit bad that it takes us this long to end up hitting it. But like now we've hit the like most of our board, like we've hit everything. Like this is actually a fight where I think it's fine to not send Gunblade because like we were gonna win this fight regardless. Like this guy's not that strong, and like if the next person we fight is pretty weak, I think it's fine to not send Gunblade. But like you said, I don't think that's really like going through your head right now. Move the sword over. I wouldn't spend a remover on this just to do this, just because like there's a very real world where it ends up just being like an Infinity Edge onto Triss if you wait this long. And this is a fight where maybe you could get away. This guy's spot is insane, by the way.
Yeah.
But like maybe you could get away with saying, like I was gonna lose this fight regardless. I won't slam Gunblade, but like you'd still kill a few more units. Like it can matter. But okay, we finally get our collector here. We're just kind of slow rolling for our board at this point. Just kind of like hoping to hit the stuff, which like yeah, it is also just like I think had we made Gunblade and had we had GP in a lot of those fights, like we would be a lot healthier this stage, which is really like the big thing here, where like we're just in kind of like a worse spot than we would ideally want to be.
And I'm just gonna let you know here, this item choice here, I took too long and it auto selected.
Oh no.
Yeah,
That's rough. That's
I,
rough,
I
but
got
it
dizzy.
happens.
But we could talk about like what I should have picked here. Obviously.
Yeah. So, okay. From this perspective, like I want to look at this the full item that we're taking in the context of like what other components that we have in this spot.
Mhm.
It's pretty rough. Like you can make IE onto Triss, which is her like best item in this spot. But then that just does like really awkward things to the rest of your items. Um, you don't really need to prioritize Last Whisper that highly in this comp because you have the Urgot and you're like playing so much into the Urgot that like he's going to be giving you a lot of Sunder. Like I most of the time when I see people play this version of the comp, they don't prioritize Armor Shred at all, essentially. But like the biggest question is how are we going to get rid of a lot of these rods and a lot of these tiers as well? I think pretty reasonable to get rid of a tier by making like an adaptive helm. That seems pretty reasonable. And then like probably even still like the Gunblade idea. So it'd be something like IE, Gunblade, Adaptive Helm, and then you're left with like Gwinsu plus tier components. Your worst case, you can like Gwinsu onto like Corki eventually. For now, just throw it onto like Zyra or Ezreal or something. That looks pretty. And then like your last item here, I feel like because this is where your items are at, you probably have to take a tank item here, either Bramble or Warmogs. If this is a heavy AD lobby, then Bramble. If not, then just Warmogs is fine. But like you have so many damage items already. Like we're going to be able to make triple item Urgot, triple item Trist here. They just might not be perfect items. But like I said, like IE and then Gunblade onto Urgot, like it's fine. You know, not perfect, but not terrible. So yeah, like I think this is reasonable. And then yeah, I do think it has to be tank item here. And then I do think I don't really want to like itemize Zyra, like make like a warm up or yeah. Oh yeah, this is what happens. So you get like kind of dizzy building all of these items, so then you run out of time here, which like I mean it's difficult. So yeah, then you end up getting the Archangels, which kind of tragic. And then you end up making like Renan's blue buff here. But I think there's another spot where like you are so locked in on like getting to like Sterax onto Urgot that like we end up not playing a 3-item Urgot here, which feels really bad. Like the fact that we have so much of our like the kind of like agency in our comp, like all of the like all these traits are playing towards Urgot, and we don't have a 3-item Urgot. We have like a 3-item Zyra here. Doesn't feel great. I mean, Blistering Strikes isn't even bad in your spot. I mean, the other ones are like not amazing. So yeah, I like this. I like it here. But I do think like it's kind of awkward because you'd prefer like I would probably not even make Ez2 here and just play the GP for now because it's 2 more traits in. Like it's just yeah, you kind of need to play GP for now just because of the amount of traits that he gets in on your board. And like eventually we'll end up playing everything on 8s. Like we can hold on to the Ez, but I wouldn't even make Ez2 here just because you're a little poor in this spot. Like it's because we lost a lot of fights, like it's tough. And like by playing this as our board's kind of like artificially weaker. And I think you kind of, especially because we made this Renans, like it also kind of like baits you a little bit into playing this Ezreal, which like now that we have the Renans made, we almost have to play the Ezreal, but it feels bad, right? That we, especially with Bronze for Life here, that we're only playing 4 traits when we could be playing 6 traits, which is a big jump up. And like, like we could kill like a few more, like I'm sure if we have GP on this board, we're killing like these 2 extra units, which is saving HP. Like we're down to 23 HP. Like the spot is rough. But this is also why I think like I'm kind of leaning away just from kind of like forcing this comp in your spot. Like at the start of the game. Like you I don't know, you make the game very difficult on yourself here. And now like you feel pressured. Like you can't really do what you want to do in this spot, which is like, you have to I don't think you can really level here because I think leveling here like guarantees you're playing for like 7th at best because like you're never really finding everything 3-starred. I think you basically just have to say like I'm gonna roll there and like I'm gonna hope that I don't take a ton of damage here and then I'm gonna send it next round and go for Trist 3 or Urgot 3. I think that's what you have to do, which feels rough. That is a Trist at least with the Sterax though, so that's cool. But like once again, like we lost so much HP this game just trying to guarantee that we get the Sterax here and like great we get to the Sterax, but we're 13 HP now. I would much rather have like a worse item on this Urgot and be like 30 or 40 HP. So yeah, okay, you're one off everything here. You make the Sterax here. Well, not one off, but like almost one off everything. Send it down here. But yeah, because we push 7 as well, we end up in this spot. I'm completely fine selling Corki here. I mean, you probably should play Corki over the Ez and sell the Ez here, actually. It's another trait. It's a scrap for Bronze for Life. And this is like maybe gold that we can use to hit. So just sell the Ez here, play the Corki, roll down, and hopefully you hit enough to live here. I think if you have everything 3-starred, maybe you can win this fight. But yeah, pretty rough. But yeah, I do think like the line was not ideal that we took this game. Like I think if you're going to hard commit to a line like this, you need like a really good reason. If you have 2 Tristanas, boom, I'm always taking this. Even with 1 Tristana, I'm happy taking this. But yeah, with zero Trist, zero Urgots, I'm just not that hyped to take it.
And looking back now, with the Mace as well, that gives me a JG and then either a Shiv or a Shojin potentially, which that's a Dominator line that's a much higher cap than what I was aiming for.
Yeah, I think so. Like it makes your game easier to play. And it's also like then you're not like forced to play one specific line. Like now you have to play this line. You hit decently well for it, but it's just like we didn't really have the opener for it. But it's also like you could have just completely missed on Tristan Urgots, which you kind of did like towards the end, but
Yeah,
it's because you
yeah,
pushed 7. But like you also open yourself up to the low roll of just like never seeing a Tristan Urgot stage 2, and then like it's 3-1, you're 1 Trist, 1 Urgot, and then your game is way harder to play. Whereas Mace's Will, you can play like anything with this. So yeah. Okay. Any questions about this game that I didn't answer, or just general stuff that like you thought of based upon like how this game went?
So in the early, it's rare to make 10 gold in the first 3 minions, but when the gold openers happen, how do you how because you can obviously go wide and hold every unit, or you can make the +1 gold. I never
Mm-hmm.
know how to make the decision between the two.
So my thought is it's really just comes down to like how valuable are the units that I'm holding, which often is just kind of like a proxy of like how strong are these units in the early game and how likely am I to play around them in the opener. So like 1-3 here, I said I would make 10 gold in this spot because like I said, my opinion of the 4 Enforcer opener is not very high. Like I think it's pretty unlikely that I'm going to play around 4 Enforcer.
It's not like
um
for Conquer. It's like way
exactly.
weaker. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a 4 trait. Usually they're quite strong, but it's just the times I've played 4 Enforcer, they have not done much. And so like I'm not that excited in that way to hold 4 Enforcer. Like for example, yeah, like if instead this was like Darius, Draven, and this was a Swain, then I'm way more likely to hold that because yeah, like you said, the 4 Conqueror opener is way stronger. So I'm looking at these 2 units and saying I'm not actually that likely to play these units. I mean, the way the opener played out, I mean, obviously we took like an augment that completely changed our direction, but we didn't end up playing either of these 2 units. And like
Right.
I think most of the time you won't end up playing either of these 2 units, so it's okay to sell them. Similarly, like if you're holding a bunch of other units, like if instead of this maybe we were holding some other units that like they were very unlikely for us to play. I'm trying to think of an example, but if we had like I don't know a random powder and then like a random vex and then I don't know some other random unit that didn't really have any synergy, then once again like because we have like a pair here and a Maddie that like we're quite likely to play around, then I'm down to kind of like lean into that opener. In general in TFT, I'm really just trying to find to get as quickly as possible to a good opener and then to sell everything else to start making 10 as quickly as possible. So the second I see, all right, we have step pair here, we have Maddie, I think it's pretty likely that this is going to be our opener. So I'd be pretty open to selling other stuff unless it's like really, really good. You can also look at like item. Like you get drop tier here. If we were holding like a bunch of like 80 units, like Dravens and stuff like that, you could at that point think about selling them for like maybe a visionary opener if you had that, like because you're more likely to play around visionary with the tier. With the first component, it's kind of hard, but like when you get further down and you see the rest of your components, then you can lean more towards into it. But like, see, like we have this Maddie 2 here, like it's very unlikely that we're going to play any of this stuff at this point. Like that's why I think you don't make 10 here. Yeah, you don't make 10 here, which I think you said was like an APM diff, but like already in my head, like before I even get to the end of this round, I'm already like, I'm almost guaranteed to be making 10 here just because I know my opener is already, like I'm 99% to play this Maddie on my board because it's a 2-star unit. I can slam items onto her and feel good. So that's how you should think about it. Like how much value do I actually get out of holding these units? Like conversely, like if it was the same opener, but we had like, in this spot, we had like Trundle pair and like, I don't know, is like Trundle pair is like really the big one here. Like if we had like a Trundle pair here, then I would be much more likely to just hold on to the Trundle pair instead of making gold because, Trundle 2 is a much better, like it's actually going to get played with this opener, I guess. Oh, I see your mic's muted. Maybe you're talking to, maybe something came
Yeah,
up.
sorry. Yeah, no,
You're
I was
good. You're
saying no.
good.
That makes sense. In another game, alternatively, I hit hard commit with the Dominator emblem, and so it gives you the zigs. And then I
Mm-hmm.
had the Trundle 2, and it was like the off to the races for the rest of the game for that
Mm-hmm.
reason. So no, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, definitely needs to look into that. And yeah, also too, you're absolutely right. It is a good team, the reroll, but I shouldn't have played it. Like, even without the whole rocket collection decision, even if we were to talk about it in the sense of like I just wanted to do it, it is a vertical game, right? Because of all the econ that everybody has. So I think even the inherent strength of the comp is probably not going to do as well, just because, like you said, everyone's just going to have really strong boards.
Yeah, I think if you had a great opener into it and you can get those Trist like stacks earlier, then I think it can cap decently high. But yeah, like in your spot especially, like you're trying to play the comp from behind, which already just doesn't feel good. That's the other thing that we kind of talked about is like you really kind of want to be playing from ahead with rocket collection so you can get more rockets and so that your like Triss can get more stacks and stuff like
I
that.
already ate 2 pieces.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Yeah, I don't think I have any other questions. I think that answers just about it. Yeah, I've learned a lot. Okay, cool. I
Awesome.
appreciate it as always. I hope you had a good Christmas.
Yeah, I did. Hope you did
Okay.
as well.
Yes, and I hope you have a good Happy New Year's as well. I really appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
man.
much. I appreciate it.
All right.